Hi there, welcome to this new video tutorial where I'll show you how you can edit your database directly from a list view. Whether it's editing a value or deleting a row, you can directly do that from your list view. Let's go. Okay, so I have a very simple list of tasks, as you can see here. Each row contains of an assigned person, completed true or false, due date, the ID, status, and task. I have dumped that into a list view, which you can see here. Each one has a container with the tag, the due date, the status, the task itself. So what we will do is see how you can update your database directly from user being able to edit here. These are select components, a date component, and this is a select component. And here you have an icon to delete. Okay, so if I go to my list view, you'll see I have get tasks as my data source and then item ID. This is important that you have a primary key because this is how you will let know the query. You will be passing the ID of each instance that the user is interacting with. So you can see in the first one, the Al is design new homepage. This one is ID number 1 in the database. And then something that is going to be very helpful as well is enable instance values. So if we go to the list view right now and see the state, you will see that you have the data here, but this data is the initial data. This will never change unless your query, in my instance, in my case, is get task changes and reloads. So any changes that you do or your user does will not modify what you have here. So when you activate enable instance values, you'll see here there's a new property that you can actually, and this will be helpful for you to pass values, the actual values on your list view. In fact, you can see that now it is taking the name of the components and the actual values. So you can see I have date 1, the primary key is passing it, and then select 1. I will want to change this one so that they reflect my database. So what I will go here is I will change this one to ID. So that's the data key. Date, I will change this to due date. So actually you can change it from data key to date. And then status, I will change it to, where is it? Here it is, status, right? So if I click just another one, and then I refresh, let's just refresh the list view, reset state, and then let me just move from something else to the list view again. You can see now here, due date and status have changed, and although the primary key hasn't, so let me see if that is actually the case from the key. I think that is fine. All right, so now if I change this one, for example, I put it into not started, you can see these changes. So you will be able to use this instance to pass changes to your database. So let's create our query. I will create a resource query, then I will Retool database, and then UI. I will task, select my table, action type. For this one, I will bulk update via primary key because every action will be every event, every interaction will trigger that. So it will just modify all the details, but you can actually define update an existing record and then select the change it. So let's do that as well. So we will update an existing record and we will select the ID, and then the ID will be, and here is where it gets sometimes tricky and it's difficult to understand the mechanism. Okay, so to update an existing record, you'll have to find the ID first. Let me write this and I'll explain you what it does. This view data ID. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is select list view data and then adding index. The I stands for index and then the ID. What this will do is whenever a user interacts with a component within a list view, Retool will, when that query is triggered, it will pass the index where the action happened. So right now, the container I'm hovering over and these components are within the index number 0, and you will see all of this information here. So when a query is triggered from here, it will pass the ID from index number 0, which is number 1. In fact, when I hover over this, the ID, you'll see three things. First, a number 1. Retool will always show the first value, the value of the first instance, to show you what is bringing. So it will not always be necessary this, even if you're selecting another instance. So just for you to know, that's what it will be showing. But it also here, when I drag it, you will see here a box with all of the other values. If you have many values, then it will stop. But here you can see also as a reference to make sure you're referring the right property. Great. Now we will add value pairs. So we have status and due date. So I will just do status due date. And I will do exactly the same thing, but actually not using data, but using instance values. So list view 1 data, instance values, and again, index, and this will be status. I will copy this. Here I'll put due date. Again, when you hover, you will see the options are available in the current instance values, and then due date, you will see the options here. Then as event handler, I will trigger my get tasks so that it will update the list view or save the data. And then what I'll do here is in due date, so event handler, I will on change, I will trigger my query, and then on status, again, on change, I will trigger my query, which we'll call edit task. So now, if I change this instance number 2, instance number 1, index number 1, from non-started to completed, that will end the task. And there you go. So now it has changed it, and the order changed it because it filters it for different IDs. So what I'll do for you to actually it makes sense, I will order this by ID so that the ID stays the same every time. Brilliant. And I'll go here, view state, data. So if I change from September 11, from September 10 to 13, and then you go, it has changed here. So my data source has updated directly. Let's just do delete, which is basically the same thing. So I will add a query, Retool database, UI. This will be delete a record. It will be again the ID, and then list view 1, and then instance, and then .id. Brilliant. So that's the only thing, because it will find the ID, and then event handlers, we will trigger the get tasks where save. So after that, we will go to our icon. We have to select the first instance, and then here we will trigger query 3, and it's delete task. So now when that is selected, update sales report Bob, which is index number 1. When we trigger that, that will be deleted. Now you can see that is gone. All right, so that is one way. It's not the only one, but it's the easiest and the simplest to pass values from your list view to your database and update the list view. I hope this has been helpful. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions or additional suggestions for videos or feedback. Cheers. Bye.